Okay, in this video, we are going to go through brushless scrubbing first and then the full brush scrub as well, talking about things that we're specifically looking for when the students are performing these skills. All right, we'll start with a brushless scrub, and we're just going to use the All Care foam, but the principles we're going to talk about apply to any brushless scrub that you're utilizing. So, all right, so Cindy will dispense the scrub. Of course, we have done a full scrub as our first scrub of the day. She dispenses, they say about tennis ball size, but it's enough to fill kind of the palm of your hand. And it is a little bit of trial and error to figure out how much is too much and how much is not enough. You can always get more. But we always start with the fingertips, and we spend the most time with the fingertips because that's the dirtiest part of the hand. So fingertips on one hand, transfer over, fingertips on the other side. And then we start to apply all the way up to 2 inches above the elbow. So you see how Cindy has her hands. Even though we are not using water, we still keep our hands basically in the same position as we do when we were doing our full scrub. So we want to keep the elbows out because we are scrubbing all the way up to 2 inches above the elbow. If your sleeves were long enough that they go below that area, you need to make sure that you roll those up. And we just go ahead and apply all of that. If it starts to feel like it's dry, you probably don't have enough. So just make sure that you get some more, and you want to just get that initial film all the way up to 2 inches above the elbow on both arms. If you got way too much, it's going to feel kind of wet. So you want it to dry a little bit before you do your second application. All right, second application, we do about half as much as the first time. About a golf ball size is what they say. And fingertips, we always start with those fingertips, transfer it over, do the fingertips of the other side. And then this time, we scrub up to just the hands and the wrists, or kind of that first half of the forearms, or that first section that you scrub when you do the full scrub. And we just need to sit there and we need to rub it in until it's dry. We can't go in and towel dry it off because that basically undoes what we just tried to accomplish by putting on the brushless scrubbing agent, which it creates that film to prevent the regrowth of microorganisms on the skin. So Cindy will just sit there, and if you got way too much, it's going to take a little bit for it to dry, but we definitely don't want to wave the hands to try to make it dry. You can get airborne droplets that can kind of fly everywhere, plus that's airborne contaminants as well. And again, like I said, you can't dry it off because that undoes what we just did, which was create that barrier between ourselves and those microbes. So that's brushless scrubs. Biggest things that we see is, you know, the students will kind of bring the arms in because they're not doing a full scrub, contaminate the arms against their scrubs, forget to do the fingertips, and then on the second section, they'll take the application up to a higher level than just the hands and kind of the wrists or the first section of the forearms. So those are things that we're looking for when we assess those different brushless scrubs that you can choose. All right, now when we do the full scrub, we'll go through that. Okay.
It's starting to feel now it's getting tacky. You can feel it starting to stick. And now I'm just like almost at the totally dry stage. I could be walking into the OR now, still rubbing it in while I'm waiting for it to get to this stage, and I can, you know, visit and get some things open, you know, talk to people, getting more supplies and things that we might need. Yeah, and now it's all sticky. You don't want to be doing this. That, like Casey said, that doesn't work. Okay, so ready for regular scrub?
All right, so like I said, when we do the brushless scrub, you do have to still do a full scrub for your first scrub of the day to make sure you get all that debris that might be on your hands off. So even if you plan to use a brushless scrub every day, when you get out there, you still have to do that full scrub in the day, at the beginning of the day. All right, so you'll pick a scrub brush, whether it be betadine or whatever type. Cindy's gonna use a betadine here, so it's already got the agent on it. There are some scrub brushes that don't have any soap on them, so you'll have to add them, just like Cindy's doing right here. And remember that you don't want to mix soaps. So if you pick a Hibiclens scrub brush, you can't soap up with a betadine soap. We want to make sure we're using the same consistent soap. All right, so what Cindy's going to do here, she opened up her scrub brush here. She folded back the flap so it's not going to come back and contaminate after we start. If it didn't have any agent on it, she would add that, and then she's ready to start here. All right, so we kick the water on. We're gonna wet the arms all the way up to the elbows, starting at the fingertips. Okay, and then we apply soap. So she was using a betadine scrub brush, so she's gonna use betadine here. And we go all the way up to 2 inches above the elbow, making sure that we have enough soap to cover that entire area. Again, you can see she has the fingertips up, the elbows down, and she has her elbows out away from her scrubs. So before she began scrubbing, she would make sure that her sleeves were rolled up if they were long enough that they covered that area. All right, she's gonna grab her scrub brush. She's gonna find the pick, which in this one happened to be underneath. So the pick may be sitting on top, so you may not have to mess around with your scrub brush too much, but then we're gonna clean the nails under running water. Remember that your nails should be trimmed so that you can't see them above the tips of your fingers. And we don't ever wear nail polish or anything like that in the operating rooms, especially not artificial nails because they harbor bacteria. But we're just gonna use that nail pick to clean underneath each nail under running water, and then dispose of the pick either into the trash if there's one close, or if you need to drop it in the scrub sink, you can. Then we rinse the arms from fingertips to elbows. Every rinse that we do with the scrub will always start at the fingertips and then finish at the elbows. We don't go back and forth through the water. All right.
Oh, here's something you guys forget a lot. Could you put on my goggles?
So you don't have to contaminate your whole scrub. You can have someone who's unsterile help you out here and put on your goggles. We say the 3 S's, so shields, sleeves, and then your scrub brush when you're getting ready to scrub. All right, after we rinse, then we apply soap again up to 2 inches above the elbow. So again, we're using betadine in this video, but in your facility you might use Hibiclens, just depending on what they have available. All right, then we pick up the scrub brush. Remember that the goal is going to be to scrub for about 3 to 5 minutes. So when we first start, and you can pick which side of the scrub brush you want to use. So you're going to see there's a bristly side, and then there's a side that has more of a sponge on it, okay? So some people will scrub like their fingertips with the bristly side and then switch. It really just depends on what your preference is. All right, but we start with the fingertips, and we're going to do 30 strokes on the fingertips each side. So some people will count, they call it 15 bumps. So up and down is, 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep.
11, 12,
13, 14, 15. Okay.
This hand and this hand.
Yep, both fingertips. So we do equal sections. Then we start to scrub the hand. Okay, so each finger is going to have 4 surfaces, and each one of those surfaces needs 15 strokes. So you're going to watch Cindy here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I just do 8. It's 16 strokes, but I like even numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8.
And then we go to the next finger, which again is going to have 4 surfaces. So the side, the top and the bottom, and then the other side in the web space. You see how Cindy's arms are positioned, so her fingertips are up and her elbows are down. That way if any soap runs off, it's not going to run back from an area that is less sterile. So we consider, of course the skin isn't actually sterilized, but we consider the hands to be the most clean portion of the scrub. So as she scrubs here, you're seeing she's just going down each finger with 4 surfaces, 15 strokes on each surface, making sure that she doesn't forget a surface.
What I do is I pick a direction, I pick a pattern. I always do the back side of my finger first, do the inside, do the other side, and then when I get to my pinky, I gotta make sure I get all of it. 1, 2, 3.
We see students forget that side of the palm very frequently. So they'll just kind of scrub the top of the pinky and not the whole thing. See how Cindy's getting some more soap and some more water? If you feel it's starting to get dry, you can always get some more lather there. And then she's doing the palm. So in a circular motion, it's not really a scrub back and forth, but again, it's 15 strokes. Okay, and then she needs to do the back of the hand too. Don't forget about that. Okay, 15 strokes again.
Okay.
All right, before we start to work up that arm, we need to do the other hand, right? Because we need to do equal sections on each side. So we're going to do the exact same thing. 4 surfaces on each finger, making sure that each one gets 15 strokes.
Okay, I'm going to show you some bad things.
See how our hands are pointed down into the sink here? And your arms are gonna hurt, especially if you haven't scrubbed a lot. You're gonna kind of get some sore muscles in your shoulders. So resist the urge to let your hands fall. And like Cindy mentioned, make sure you have a pattern. So if you kind of skip all over the place, it's probably pretty likely that you're going to forget something. So make sure you're striving for consistency. We do that a lot in things that we do as surgical technologists, is really try to do things the same every single time. And that way it makes us more efficient each time that we do it. All right, the palm and then the back side of the hand. 15 strokes each surface. All right, now that we have scrubbed both hands, now we can start to work up the arm. So she can stay on that same hand where she was. She doesn't have to go back to the other arm, and she can just start to work up. Now, the arm is going to be split into 3 sections. So 1, 2, and 3, all the way up to 2 inches above the elbow. So again, 4 surfaces in each section though, and each one gets 15 strokes. Okay. So you see how she's rotating her arm around? So she's not letting it fall down into the sink so that it's pointing downward. She's also making sure it's not too close to her mask. She's also making sure it's not across the front of her so that it's touching the scrubs. That tends to happen when we get really high up by the elbow, but we have to watch out for that. Okay, so again, she's doing the equal section on the other arm. Again.
Here's a bad one.
Yep, see, she's pointing down. So we don't want to do that. You have to rotate the arm around so that it still stays with fingertips up. All right, once she finishes that section, she can move up that arm because both wrists or the first part of the forearms are already done. So again, we're splitting that into 4 sections. Each one gets 15 strokes. Okay, and then we need to come over to the other arm because we haven't scrubbed that section on the other arm yet. Okay, and then we have our final section, which includes the elbow and all the way up to 2 inches.
Oh, I just touched.
Uh-oh, Cindy touched the faucet here. Now what do we do? Well, Cindy's gonna need another scrub brush. So hopefully somebody else is around to help her open that.
I can just use.
Or she can use that one too. Yep.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Scrub it 15 more times. 2 extra just for good measure. And then I can go back up here.
If Cindy drops her scrub brush, she'd need a new scrub brush. If it gets contaminated, any of those kinds of things, yep, then somebody would have to open it for her. All right, so you see she's scrubbing that final section all the way up to 2 inches above the elbow.
Crappy sponge. Now let's open it. All right.
And then we finally do that last section on the other arm, finish up that area. Again, this is the one where people will, want to reach down. They also will kind of come across and get way too close. See the front, that arm that's coming across, see how it's far enough away that it's not going to contaminate against your scrubs. So a lot of times what we'll see is there'll be soap on the front of your scrubs. Well, we definitely know that your arm has touched your scrubs when that happens. All right, when we're done, we either drop it in the sink or throw it away in the trash can, and then we rinse fingertips to elbows on both arms. Okay.
I'm going to show you the correct way first, and then after that we're going to show you some breaks and the incorrect way. So, correct. I kind of turn to the side and I reach in and I go up, and then I can kind of turn to the side and go up. Okay. Let's do the wrong way. Wrong. Okay, here's a contamination that can happen. We're getting done scrubbing. I've already dropped my scrub brush, right? So it's in the sink. It's not sterile anymore. It's not clean anymore. And so I'm rinsing off. And again, oh, I just bumped my thumb. So now is when I can ask the circulator or somebody who's not sterile walking by to open me a new scrub brush. And then I'll take the new scrub brush and scrub and be done. And then drop that in. So those are the things that kind of happen. We drop our arms a lot. We go like this to scrub, or we're rinsing and we're letting the water run down. The whole idea after scrub is to go from cleanest to dirtiest, cleanest, dirtiest. And so I want to keep everything up so that the water runs that direction.
All right, see you in the next video.